mission of Montague Area Public Schools to educate and inspire all students to become motivated, articulate, and productive, and successful citizens for today, tomorrow, and forever. Item 2 on the agenda is Pledge Allegiance, so please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 on the agenda is roll call.
Mrs. Dahl? Here. Ms. Granson? Here. Mr. Rick?
Here.
Mr. Johnson? Here. Mr. Geisler?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Newgarden? Here. He's here.
All right. Item 5 on the agenda is the consent agenda. I'm sorry, approval of the agenda. Item 4. So moved by Tom, support by Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5 on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Support.
Is that Amanda? Moved by Amanda, support by Scott. Discussion. All those in favor? Yes. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6 is the public comment portion of the meeting. Public comments will be accepted at this time. Each statement shall be limited to 5 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board welcomes public comment, but does not respond to citizens' concerns at its meetings. If the citizens request in the board's direction, the superintendent or designee will respond in a timely manner. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. We do have some people on the list. If you have your name on the list, please come forward. I think the first person is Ty Bortel.
Is this the mic?
No.
No. All right. So I just talk.
Okay. There's no mic.
Gotcha.
You just come across your
Hi.
If you would state your name and your address.
My name is Ty Bortel. I live at 8695 Ferry Street, apartment 2. I'm a Montague resident and I am a Montague graduate. I work at the Montague branch of the Muskegon Area District Library. We do our best down there to provide a safe third space for teenagers. They can come down, they can play board games, they can do crafts, they can do homework. So I interact with a lot of teenagers from the high school. And I was recently told a story that was very concerning to me. 2 students stated that they witnessed something occur in a classroom. There was one student who was wearing a Harris Waltz pin in class, and then another student told that student to kill themselves. And then the teacher overheard this, and then the teacher said, well, there is one obvious candidate in this election. And I thought that if this is true, it is something that does need to be investigated immediately. The White Lake community has had its share of student suicides. We don't want any repeats of that, especially in the current climate. So I just thought I'd bring that to your guys' attention. They also said a couple of male students were telling female students, your body, my choice, which is a reference to a tweet from an online personality. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring this to your attention and you guys can look into it. Thank you.
Number 2 on the list is Kelly Martin.
This is the mic, right?
No mic.
No mic.
Just joking. Okay. Hello. I'm here today as a concerned parent to speak on behalf of one of my younger son's friends.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Kelly Markley, 8471 Sheridan Street, 11th grade student in my household.
Okay.
That knows you. Hello. I am here today as a concerned parent to speak on behalf of one of my younger son's friends. They have been friends here at Montague Area Public School since preschool and are now in 11th grade together. Last Tuesday, my son's friend wore a pin to school. It said a candidate name but was otherwise plain in appearance and size. Upon entering his math classroom, the student was, and in the hearing of the teacher, called a baby killer by a group of students, and was told by one of the students to take that pen off unless you want your ass beat. When the teacher interceded, it was to say, let's not talk about political stuff, but I really don't like them killing all those babies, while staring pointedly at my son's friend. The group of kids who had initially called him a baby killer now invited my son's friend to go kill himself. Both phrases were said several times. Again, this was all within the teacher's presence and hearing, as well as the other students in the room, which class size, I imagine there's 20 or so. During this exchange, my son's friend didn't say anything. Class proceeded as usual. When his mother called the school the next morning, she was told that it was a politically charged day, but teachers are supposed to stay neutral, and the teacher in question would be spoken to. It was also questioned by the school official whether or not the student was allowed to wear the pin in the first place. The power over a student, a kid, by a public school teacher. And it is my understanding that it is not a parochial school. It is a public school funded by
and serve all the public to the best of my ability. I am making the assumption that a similar set of guidelines and standards exists here at Montague Area Public Schools, that all students should feel welcome and safe here. This type of educational environment is unacceptable, and many of us in the community and students and staff that attend and work in this school system would like to see a change and some action taken. All of our kids deserve an environment where they receive the same level of respect, care, and educational development that a public school is supposed to provide. Thank you to the board for your time.
Next on the list, Jack.
My name is Jen Hing, 9047 Pinebrook Drive. I'm going to try my best to keep it together because the student in question is my son. And while it was hard to hear some of those things the first time, it continues to be difficult to hear. I'm here to discuss the events that happened last week with my son, River, who was a junior at Montague High School. As we know, last week was our national election. On Tuesday, November 5th, he wore a simple 2-inch pin that reads Harris Falls. His intention when wearing this pin was not to be disruptive. In fact, on his own and in his free time, he researches and studies national and global history and politics. He spent a week this past summer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with hundreds of high school students from across the country and the world attending a World Affairs seminar where the topic for the week was democracy in action. The keynote speakers were people in politics, both Democrat and Republican, and U.S. ambassadors to Afghanistan. He's already looking forward to attending next year. So when River wore his pin to school, he wore it with the confidence of his knowledge in policies, politics, and global interests. He also wore it knowing that his choice in candidates is most likely in the minority among his school peers. But he has the ability to back up his decision if asked. And I have to add that his dad and I are also beyond confident in his ability to back up his political ideals. When River came home, we learned that him wearing this pin provoked a number of student responses, including "take off that pin before I beat your ass," "go kill yourself," and being called a baby killer. The latter to which the teacher also stated that she agreed, "I also don't like those baby killers." River did not respond to any of these comments. Unfortunately, none of these responses were jarring to my son, as apparently rhetoric like this among students has become commonplace. He was aware, however, that the teacher should not have stated that toward him, and honestly, if you are hearing this for the first time, that my 16-year-old son was referred to as a baby killer by his teacher, then this should hopefully stop you in your tracks with the realization that this is absolutely not acceptable. A couple of trajectories happened after this occurrence. The following morning, I spoke to Mrs. Thulman and explained what happened, and she agreed that it was not okay and that teachers are supposed to remain neutral and not disclose their political affiliations with students. I also let Mrs. Thulman know that River chose to wear his pin to school again that following day, and she was going to look into whether it was within school guidelines to wear his pin. The other trajectory, which shouldn't be surprising for anyone, was from the social media outreach from Montague students that evening. I was receiving messages all night from adults asking if what their students had witnessed, it had told them they witnessed in the classroom was true, And River's phone was also blowing up with people reaching out to him indicating they heard a teacher had called him a baby killer. I am bringing this to your attention not to put a spotlight on one teacher's inappropriate comment to my son. It's not my intention of getting anyone in trouble. I'm not interested in placing a formal complaint against that one teacher. Mrs. Thulman stated she would address the situation directly with that teacher. I had no reason to believe she wasn't going to, and thankfully, that teacher apologized to River today, and for that, I am grateful. Instead, I bring this up to point out an overall issue of intolerance for differing viewpoints at school. A level of intolerance that results in cutting insults and even threats for simply thinking differently. Therefore, I'm coming to you with a couple of asks. I ask for assurance that the adults in the room will immediately shut down politically charged and politically based insults from students as soon as they hear them. For these same adults to not be part of the problem, thereby perpetuating the intolerance. My third ask was going to be that if the solution was determined that political garb cannot be worn as a workaround to putting an end to the vitriol, then that ban be placed on both sides of the unfortunate political divide. But River came home today stating that Mrs. Thulman reassured him that he is, in fact, allowed to wear his pin to school within the school guidelines. My biggest ask for all of this is for tolerance of differing viewpoints. It feels like a bare minimum ask, so I'm confident this will be followed through with.
Are there any other public comments at this time? All right, item 7 on the agenda is reports.
All right, first we have a DECA presentation by some of our students here today. In your packet, you will be voting in the new business on a consideration of the event calendar. So we'll have a presentation.
Hi, I'm Santiago Prales from Montague DECA, and I wanted to report on some of the upcoming recent events in DECA. So to start, last Friday, DECA attended Michigan State for a leadership conference to learn more about the competitive events in DECA. Soon, we will attend the DECA Districts competition, which is at Grand Valley State in Grand Rapids. Following that, DECA will attend the State and Career Development Conference in Detroit from March 13th to March 15th. Lastly, DECA will hopefully attend the International Career and Development Conference April 25th to April 30th. Those are all the events we have upcoming. Do you guys have any questions?
So obviously our DECA program is through our business classes here, as you can see. We've done a great job over the years, and the competitions we usually do have students. And as you said, hopefully we will again this year as well, taking that trip to Orlando.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next on our list, reports, we have principal meaningful minutes. Christy. All right.
All right, so our first quarter is complete. We are working in our second quarter. Just a reminder, I put this in my newsletter to all parents that grades are calculated 40%, 40%, 20%. So helping that along the second quarter is a good idea to make sure you're staying on top of everything. We had a community day on our half day after conferences. Things went well. We had a community breakfast. We had a little bit of talent, a little bit of dance off, and that was a good time. The community breakfast, everybody sat down and ate breakfast together all at the same time, and those are always nice times. Committee work, I kind of spoke about this at the last meeting a little bit. Our teachers are in committees. It's very exciting for me to be able to walk around to all of the committees as the teachers are meeting and see great conversation, great ideas, and hoping that our new strategic plan will help guide all of these things to fruition and not just be something we talk about, but something that we do. We've talked a little bit about adjusting some tutoring, some intervention, promoting more positive behaviors, digging deeper into our school culture, and kind of a revamp of our seminar. Those are all things that our staff has identified as things that we want to work on. Wednesday is World Kindness Day. Our Hope Squad, along with our Renaissance class, will be doing some activities with that. Sports, our soccer team was district champs. First time ever in school history that we have a soccer team as a district champ. Football made an appearance in the playoffs. The girls golf team placed 6th in the state. 2 of those golfers are honorable mentions. Volleyball made it to the district finals as well. Tough opponent in Fruitport, but they did a really nice job. Our band received a Division I rating at Festival this year for marching band, and their scores continue to improve throughout the season. They received many awards, many honors for color guard, music, and marching throughout their season, and of course then we ended with the glow show, which is always a good time. Winter sports are starting. You'll see in the gym right now that basketball tryouts are happening. We had a record number 51 kids sign up for boys basketball tryouts. So that's also exciting to see. And then FFA, the Chicken Broiler Project, is nearing completion, and they are going to be getting some salmon eggs. So that's a new project that you will want to watch for as well. Thank you.
All right. Sandy?
Well, first of all, happy Veterans Day, everybody, and for those of you who have served or continuing to serve, thank you for your service. That's why I'm wearing red, white, and blue today, just so you know. Well, since I last spoke to you, we've had parent-teacher conferences, and we had 88% of our parents who attended before had a phone or a virtual conference with the teacher. But I would love to see that much higher. And so we will work toward that goal of upping that number. Of course, we would like 10%. That's not always possible, but we continue to reach out to parents, even though conferences have come and gone, the actual days, continue to reach out to parents to encourage them to meet with teachers or to at least have a conversation about how their child's doing in school. We enjoyed the tractor parade on Friday the 18th of October. That's always a big treat. Thank you to students and to the high school for promoting that. All of our second graders have now been to Shoals Farm for the season, so that's always a really exciting time, and we really appreciate their support in providing those trips for our students. We had a fabulous 5th grade Halloween concert right before Halloween, and I have to tell you, it's probably, in all my years of being a principal, it's probably the most fun concert I've ever been to and witnessed. The kids were having so much fun, and even 5th graders who think they're a little bit too big sometimes really just acted like kids, and it was just so fun to see them perform. And we had, of course, standing room only, so it was really great. Of course, Halloween has come and gone, and so has hopefully all the candy. The costumes were really awesome. And that same day, we had an assembly, and we honored several students, but specifically, I wanted to point out our Students of the Month. So each teacher recommends or nominates a student for our Student of the Month, and then we secretly reach out to the parents and ask them to attend. So the parents show up, the kids don't know that they're going to be brought up to the stage to be honored as Student of the Month. And the Student of the Month is really a student who's been exemplary in terms of behavior and following our hero expectations. So it's really awesome to see all of those 18 students and their parents in the crowd. A couple of even little kids were crying, so that's really fun. Pickles and popcorn has been really popular the last 2 months. Most recently, we had it last Friday. So I just want to reach out to McCormick and Dog and Suds and Pretty and Polish and Boardwell Mechanical Services. They all helped so that all of our students, every student in every classroom, had a pickle and popcorn. And I have told you in the past about that literacy grant that we have, the 35J monies that we have gotten from the state to look at new literature or ELA programs for our elementary students and staff. And we have a total of 10 teachers who are piloting those 2 curriculums. We're still right now piloting the EL education program. The teachers have been attending learning labs at other schools in the county to learn what that looks like in their classrooms and potentially what it could look like for us here in Montague. And then most recently, Jen Stoneman, myself, and Mary Johnson, the consultant from the ISB, we did some learning walks. So we visited each of those 10 classrooms and captured some comments from the students and pictures and so forth. So that's been really great as well. And I have to tell you a cute story from today. You really know when the teacher has engaged the students. So Xander Werner was teaching in language arts today, and a little boy got up, and as you know in the kindergarten classrooms, the bathrooms are in the classroom. So he got up to go to the bathroom, and he was peeking out because she was actually talking about an octopus because the letter today was O. And he was peeking out, and she's telling more. Then he shut the door, and then she starts talking again. He opens the door, he peeks out. So I guess what I'm saying is, even teachers can capture their attention. And I think he was so afraid he was going to miss out on something that he just had to keep peeking. And I even captured a picture of it. So it was really awesome to see. Thank you, as always, for your support. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Let's see, at the middle school, last month we had our first community lunch. Those are always a lot of fun. And we get kids every year who ask if we can have lunch like this every day. And if you don't know whether we sit at tables and we family style, we pass everything around, everything's on the table. It is a great fun. It is a lot of work for Dan, Christina, Leslie, and Lori in the kitchen. But they're very gracious in doing that for us every year. It's a great time for our staff to get to know kids as they come and sit down at all the tables and eat with the kids as well. We had our first dance of the year, October 24th and 25th. We did those. We had 6th grade separate. That was a little different when you have 6th graders at the dance, so they had their own dance and activities. And then 7th and 8th grade, we had some activities, but a lot more of them dance that time. But that was a lot of fun. We had, well over 60-70% of our kids at grade level showing up to take part in that. So a lot of fun in the evening with staff and our students. Let's see. Last month you guys approved the trip to Chicago, so thank you for doing that. We already have quite a number of kids signing up, filling up a bus already. So they're already looking forward to that trip in the spring. Our football team ended their season undefeated, and both of our volleyball teams took second place in the conference tournament. And we now already have boys basketball and competitive cheer going on. That'll wrap up just after Christmas, and then we'll get into our season number 2. We've had the 23G grant. We've talked about that a couple of times. Things for kids who need a little bit extra. That is paying for after-school tutoring. That is now going to be up and going at RO and the middle school. So those that need some extra help can stay after school and get help from their teachers for a couple of hours throughout the week. Is that one already? Our robotics team has been meeting now for a couple of months. They're getting ready for their competition on November 23rd. Fruitport is hosting that, so we get to stay local with that. We'll see. They're hoping to get in one more competition in Big Rapids and qualify for the state tournament. So we will see how they do. Want to thank Josh Erb and Nick Briggs. They are the coaches for that team. They have really taken that on this year and have taken a lot off my plate on the robotics team, so I really appreciate all their work they are doing with that. We have in our 8th grade elective class with Kate Firestein, we have a sturgeon in the classroom this year. They've done salmon in the classroom for a number of years where you raise a bunch of salmon and release them. They now have sturgeon in the classroom. So they got a little sturgeon right now in it, and we can only get one, that is in a tank, and we've got people coming in. They got to measure this and send all the measurement in to the state and keep this going. And so it's really cool to come see you guys. If you want to come by and see the sturgeon, they're a really cool fish to come watch. And then at the end of the year, once it gets to some maturity, they'll release that into the river. They're trying to find ways to raise money for the food. They didn't realize how expensive food is for the sturgeon. So if anybody wants to donate money for sturgeon food, we are looking for donations. October 29th, we had our band concert. That was our first one of the year, so it was great to see all of the growth in the 7th and 8th graders as they came along, and the choir is coming along great. So Scott and Emma did a wonderful job with that program. And the last thing to tell you about, we have a small group that is taking part in a design thinking after-school activity. We were approached by a group that is trying to start a little design thinking challenge around the West Michigan area. There's a big one that goes over on the east side of the state where they put out a challenge and then teams come in, they design something around their community. So they have to go out and interview people and then come up with an idea, seek feedback for their idea, make changes, and then go to a competition where they present their idea to groups and they're judged. So they're starting one of these in Grand Rapids, and they've invited just a small number of schools to do that. So we were asked to join in the pilot. So Kara Creasel and Brent Bradfield are doing that during lunch hours and after school. So we got just a small group of 5 kids there. Their challenge this year was to find a way to engage the community to use an outdoor space more than they currently do. And so they have their idea right now, so they're going to be pitching that to a couple of teachers and to Jeff Out to get feedback on that idea. Right now there's like an outdoor piano with like solar panels that charge the piano because they want to have music at a cool place for people to come and hear and you can play. And so that's part of their idea. So once they get their idea finished, they get partnered with a team from Kendall Art Institute. Those students come in and they help them actually create some kind of prototype for their design. And then in February, they'll take that to the competition in December. So kids are having a great time. We're hoping that this is something that'll catch on and that we'll be able to do this in a little bigger fashion once the pilot gets a little bigger. So we're just really excited to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So my goal is always to try to find something that we're not involved in our role in, because a lot of the things that we do are together. And so one of the things I wanted to point out is we just started with the special ed director and director of the preschool programs, and we started a systems of care program. So what we're doing is we're meeting and we're discussing students that may be coming into our district and talking about the needs that things that they'll need, and it's just trying to smooth that transition between preschool and kindergarten, because they're not currently Montague students, so we want to encourage that, and we want to keep the lines of communication open with the director from the way they do it. So we're really working hard on the systems of care, which Denise, our special ed director, is always a big part of that. And then parent-teacher conferences are really good. We had 93% attended. We're just working on parent-school connections. And we had our first Halloween VIP day, and so all of our kids, I think we had maybe 2 or 3 that didn't have a VIP, but for the most part, we had our parade, we had our spooky stories, we had our prank craft, we had some adults dancing the Monster Mash, and I want to give a shout out to FFA because their spooky trail was, according to my best ever. So just so you know, it's the best ever. And then I want to thank the PTO, they provided buses. We went out to Weezy's for weekly. And also I want to thank Shoals Farm because they donated pumpkins for the entire building. So our preschool kids, our daycare kids, everybody, which was really thoughtful. And then we're starting our holiday can drive, so if you have donations. And then one of the things that we have going is we have a staff all fun and gratitude challenge. So we have a calendar. We're doing some underground spirit days and positive notes just to kind of keep everybody's spirits up. And we show gratitude for all the work that we do.
Thank you. Thank you to all our principals and all the great work that you do, and the staffs that are associated with each of those buildings. There's a lot of great things going on in the district, so thank you for that. Moving on to some superintendent comments. Please note the new support staff hire, Olivia Debke, high school cook aide in our food service department, does have some food industry experience and is a recently graduate. Some other comments as well. Please take note to the agenda item for the interest in, after the meeting, if you have any interest in checking out the gymnasium, at least to the point that we're at this point in time. Have to be from the upper level, as the floor is not going to be able to be walked on at this point in time. As we heard earlier, happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all our veterans out there for the service that they have done and continue to do. Congratulations to Cindy Francis on another nomination for another 6 years on the school board.
Cindy, how many years is it now?
Right now, I think it's 27.
So 33.
That is awesome. That is amazing, Cindy. Thank you. And newcomer, Emily Fulmer, which I thought I saw. Yes. Congratulations, Emily. New board member. As our current member here, Mr. Tom Johnson, did not know. No, I was just going to say you are not done yet, Tom. You got one more month, but thank you for that. We'll talk more next month to make sure that you come here, but for your 10 years of service in that component as well. And Emily is an elementary parent here in the district. And she will be starting in January at their organizational meeting at that point in time. So that is it for superintendent comments, and we will move into new business.
Yeah, item 8 on the agenda is new business. 8A is consideration of approving DECA 2024-2025 event calendar. The suggested motion is to approve the DECA calendar of events as presented. Moved by Amanda, support by Scott. Any discussion?
So as we heard, DECA students share a presentation, and this is the approval of the calendar of events. As you can see, the two out-of-state trips with the March 13th and 15th to Detroit, and hopefully the Orlando trip, 25th through the 30th, which is now the international or nationals component.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 8B, consideration of approving new hire. The suggested motion to approve Allison Uzarski as the new special ed teacher at RRO. Moved by Scott, support by Amanda. Discussion.
So this is the approval of special ed teacher that came in after we had a resignation shortly within a year. Allison does come to us with experience from both Oak Ridge and Hesperia previously.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8C is consideration approving the purchase of food service equipment. The suggested motion is to approve the purchase of a tilting skillet in the amount of $31,956.97 and a combination oven in the amount of $46,752.69 from Douglas Equipment with food service funds. Moved by Scott, support by Amanda. Discussion.
So this was a bid that we put out through our food service. Mr. Gorman looking to continue to update our kitchens with the tilt skillet and the combination oven. Both of these options give us a better ability to create quality food here within the district. I could try my best to give you exactly what the tilting skillet and the combo oven does, but I might not be the best. If you have additional questions, I can get those answered, but it is in the packet of what it looks like. The tilting skillet is kind of like a big tub. You could do anything from, when you think of the skillet, like grilling down on the bottom, but then you could also fill that tub with a lot of hot water and cook pasta in a large capacity as well. And then the combination oven allows for different temperatures within one oven to be used. So you could have, this being cooked at this, it could also steam at this level and cook this one at a different temperature, so it allows for a lot of variety. Much more than that, I might have to get back to the exact.
Any additional comments or questions?
Regarding the funding on this, is this part of that food service budget that we're supposed to eat up before?
This is correct. The funds are there. This is the food service. It's no longer a finding, but the note in the budget that our food service funds are too high, and this is obviously equipment that's needed, and it allows us to provide a better product, but yet there's plenty of funds to do so.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item D on the agenda, 8D, is Neola Policies first reading of Volume 39, Number 1, and Volume 39, Number 1, Edgar, September 2024.
All right, so you saw in the packet the first reading of all our policies. We did have a policy meeting prior to this where I reviewed some of these policies. A number of the policies are related to Edgar revisions, which the Office of Management and Budget, or otherwise known as the OMB, revised its guidance and regulations to CFRF for the purpose of incorporating statutory requirements and administrative priorities, reducing agency and recipient burden, clarifying sections that recipients or agencies have interpreted in different ways, and rewriting applicable sections in plain language, improving flow, and addressing inconsistencies, use of terms within the guidance. So obviously around some of the Edgar language, it allows us to, there were many questions maybe around how policies were worded and what it looked like at that federal level, and this allows some clarity within that. So those are the changes within the policies. You can also see that there are some additional policies around 3120, around the employment of personal co-curricular, extracurricular activities. Public Act 37 makes it necessary to require any individual serving with high school athletic coach as a high school athletic coach to hold a valid certification in CPR with the use of an AED beginning the 25-26 school year. We already do that as a district, but this is now putting that policy in place for that. 5330 talks around just adding the word Narcan into the policy, as that is a common term. So in a search, when they talk about opioid antagonists. Policy 5340 talks around student accidents. Public Act 37 says to develop a cardiac response plan for the 25-26 school year. We obviously have our teams already in place, but this plan will be established for that upcoming school year, which is very similar to the process that we already have. 8321, criminal justice information. This policy is revised to reflect the updated requirements for the Michigan State Police. Policy 0144 around compensation, around meal allowances for either board members or staff members when out of the district at conferences would, with the prices of inflation, move from that $40 to $60 per day. And that is it for the policy updates. Take a look at them again. We will have them at the next board meeting. I will be bringing some additional information around artificial intelligence as far as policy is concerned, and then the academic honesty associated with that for students and what that means. There's a lot of language of how artificial intelligence is something moving forward with our students and our world, and what does that mean for us as a district is around the integrity and honesty of the work that students are doing in that process. So looking at possibility policy options around that. So I'll be continuing to work with our administrative team on some different models of what that might look like before I bring that to the board. So if you have questions on that, let me know. And that is it for the policies.
All right, item 8E is a closed session expulsion hearing. Suggested motion is to enter closed session for student disciplinary hearings. Moved by Scott, support by Tom, and I think we have a roll call vote for that. Okay.
You need is there discussion
Discussion?
first?
Yes,
So
sorry,
first,
discussion.
this is a closed session. We did receive correspondence from the families who was at a closed session. But
Okay.
yes, it does.
Mr. Bauer? Yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Beisweisen? Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Ms. Francis? Yes. Ms. Stahl? Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we will be going into closed session. Students, we will sign any agendas. You need your 2 signatures for your class.
Nice job tonight.